actually do that.
Root beer, yummy stuff. Put it in your mouth, yeah, it's tough. Root beer, so fine, make you mine. Root beer divine.
Is there a left or a right? how do you do this?
Chord is usually on the left side, so go ahead and just throw that one on there. All right, everybody, welcome back to the Roots. I'm Carter. This is your go-to podcast for unsolicited conversation. I'm here with Nathan Jones. You may have heard of him from episode 1 when he was on with Mac Mullins. We talked about anime, and and then
I talked about like hiking and living in the woods.
Yeah, because Josh hiked for like a living, basically.
I'm into that weed stuff.
Today we are drinking Sioux City Sarsaparilla, which is supposed to be some of the best that there is. Nathan, just so you know, you want to be up on that mic when you talk. And when you turn to talk to Josh, try to keep talking into it. This is like this is microphone 101 for non-microphone users at home. Are these twist-offs?
No. we're both struggling over here.
I'm such a good host. They actually, it looks like they are threaded, but it's whatever.
I'm going to do that trick where I take a chip out of your table by trying to open my root beer.
Matt would probably not be happy. Very nice. So I want to start off this episode with a new segment that I have created called This or That. And basically all that is, this or that, for the listeners at home, is going to be, I give you guys just a scenario and you choose, you're going to be this or you're going to be that. So I've asked this specific one of my friends a lot recently. You are either a quadriplegic or B, a human-sized spider. For the rest of your life, you're one of these two. Which one do you go with and why?
Human-sized spider?
Yeah. So like you're a large
that was my
spider.
answer. I said it questioningly, but that was my answer.
Okay, why? Why not a quadriplegic? Why not be just wheeled around in a wheelchair? What's wrong with that?
I mean, really both. I mean, I like the idea that comes with spider is that you gain spider powers.
I know.
The wall crawling,
It's pretty sick. Or stick.
This is the content we come back to the roots for. This is what keeps bringing people back.
Yeah, I feel like human-sized spider, just because it's like Spider-Man without the man.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
Spider-Man
and the man was always the weakest part of Spider-Man.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's his emotion. I feel like just in general, superheroes' greatest weakness is their emotion.
Would your brain also be that of a spider, or like do you still have your brain?
I was wondering that too, but with like lifespan.
I feel like you'd probably have like combined. So you'd have the spider's instincts and knowledge, you know? But I wonder what that would feel like. Because like spiders have an exoskeleton. So I wonder if you feel all mushy inside. How does that work? You're the science guy. You went to school for science.
A little bit lacking on exoskeleton knowledge.
What do they teach you in medical school?
Not exoskeletons.
Not there yet, but
Not there yet. That's in the 5th year.
yeah.
It just feels so gushy on the inside. But we're the opposite, which actually feels weird because like muscles are just clinging onto our bones.
We develop them like cars and planes, or loosely defined could be exoskeletons. Not exactly, unless you like define them to like a humanoid exoskeleton.
Our cars are just empty exoskeletons. That's trippy. So, okay. We talked about it some before the podcast. We went out to Dave's Hot Chicken. Quality food. Big fan. But we talked about it some there, but I want to talk about it on the podcast because I talked about it with Sam and Carter briefly a couple episodes ago. Avatar 2 did come out. Josh, we saw it together. Mm-hmm. What were your thoughts on this? Nathan has not seen it. If you want to create a BS review, feel free to go for it.
I want to hear Nathan's full in-depth review of Avatar 2 right now.
I want to hear it, Nathan. I want to hear you talk for 30 seconds on Avatar. It was
long. There was a lot of water involved. And they had like a very similar story, like Dancing with Wolves.
I thought he said he hadn't seen it.
Wait, did they copy Dances with Wolves?
The first one did. I'm just assuming the second.
Can we back up? Because I actually really like that movie, Dances with Wolves. I cried. Have you seen it?
No.
It's really good. You should.
But you're sick of the story already.
No, just that's the reference I've always heard, and I mean it's the reference of like that story like style is kind of like across time. Like it's not like a hard thing to comprehend.
Yeah, I like heard
colonialism is basically this like
it's all the colonialism angle. Yeah, which James Cameron is definitely championing. Okay, Josh, I almost called you Micah, and I don't know why.
I understand.
Bro,
my thoughts?
Bro, how was the movie, bro? Bro, how was Avatar? Bro.
For those of you wondering why Carter became so cool all of a sudden, we left the movie with the initial impression of those avatars say the word bro a lot. I think James Cameron just learned the word. I thought it was this cool, from his grandkids, and thought I was this cool modern slang. Man, those avatars. I feel like the avatars had been colonized, which I guess maybe that's the whole Dancing with Wolves thing.
But the weird thing, though, too, is that, like, Jake Sully, the main character...
Never says bro
He
once.
never says bro. So it's not like... It's his kids that say it a lot. So it's just like, where did they get this word from? Anyway. Yeah. No, so, okay, what else aside from that, though? Because, like, yeah, that was weird. It felt a little out of touch. But...
the movie was supposed to come out like 4 years ago or something, wasn't it?
That's true, but were people saying bro a lot 4 years ago? I really never thought this one was going to come out. I really didn't think it would. Because I heard, for years that it was going to come out, and it was just like, and then it kept getting pushed back. I'm just like, it's never going to happen. But I was not. I liked the first one, but the second one, this one just didn't hit for me. I felt like the writing was just really poor, to be honest. Visually stunning. I will give it that.
I feel like that's all that can be said about the movie. Visually stunning. I felt like it was Avatar 1 exactly, beat for beat, again. Except this time, instead of Jake learning the ways of the forest Avatar, Jake learns the ways of the water Avatar.
See, okay, that's actually one of the reasons that I didn't like it too, was in the first one, this is me and alien movies in general. The first Avatar, it's like you're going onto a new planet and you're discovering this new alien civilization with the humans. And it's like, it's cool because you're discovering it with them. And that's what I really like about alien movies is when you enter in, it's why I liked Arrival so much, because you were learning about the aliens as the humans were too. And there's so much in the unknown, which Avatar 1 generally hit. And then Avatar 2 is just like, it wasn't that anymore. It was just like it became normal, and so the whole alien angle lost its punch for me, its value. I was bummed.
That was deep, bro.
I think that's always like the problem, though, right? Like it's always hard to, like with Stranger Things as well. Like that first arc is always like the best, and it's really hard to beat once you kind of know what it is. Mm-hmm. You can never really get like that magic back of like what is. Like what the thing is, but you haven't been introduced to it in context yet.
Yeah.
So there's always that excitement of, that's why I really love Twin Peaks. I'm going to segue into Twin Peaks here. Because Twin Peaks like draws that out for so long that I enjoy that aspect. It takes so long to figure out what's going on. But
what is Twin Peaks about?
Oh boy.
Josh, have you seen Twin Peaks?
I've seen the first season plus 2 episodes.
Yeah, I think
I watch a couple more episodes every time Nathan's in town.
Yeah. It's basically, it's like a detective story is the simplified version. And then it gets into, I guess you could say like loosely like paranormal events or what have you. Maybe the closest genre. Oh, you haven't seen X-Files either though. But like that would probably be like the closest genre like you could maybe put it in.
It's kind of like Dancing with Wolves.
The only thing I have to compare, the only context, the only thing that I have given me any clue of what Twin Peaks is like is the ripoff episode of Twin Peaks on Psych called Dual Spires. And I don't think it's even maybe it's kind of close. I don't know. I found it very entertaining, but that's the only context I have. I've been meaning to start it, kind of.
It's very slow, so like
yeah,
some people have a hard time with it, and it's definitely like it's a 1990s, I think. So it's definitely like made of that.
It's very 90s.
It's very 90s.
I love 90s. I'm a huge fan.
Oh, you might like it. Yeah, I really enjoy like the whole setup and how long it takes for them to do anything for a long time. And like, it's nice.
Is it a build? Is it like a tense build, or is it
a little bit? But then like it just like adds another layer. Like every couple episodes, as you're still building, and you're not even sure what you're building to. And at the end, you might not appreciate what you built to, but you like the journey was why we did this. So
the real story was the friends we made along the way.
Aw.
Speaking of aliens in foreign land,
great segue.
What a powerful transition.
I know. You guys were both. The only thing I knew that we could talk about for sure on this was the fact that you were both missionary kids and you grew up in foreign countries. Was it at the same time? Were you guys like growing up simultaneously in?
Did we age at the same rate? Is that what you're asking?
Me and Nathan grew up at the same time.
So I don't remember. How long were you in?
I mean, I feel like a little bit of a fake MK. I was there 3.5 years.
It's a good amount of time.
3rd through 6th grade.
I want to establish too. We ran into this last time Josh and I talked. If there's anything you're not allowed to say, don't say it. Unless, just don't. Anyway, because Josh, you were in China, and Nathan was in India. Okay, not Indonesia. It was India.
It was India. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so but were you guys like both over there at the same time? Was there overlap? Like obviously you didn't see each other over there. Obviously.
We're both in
It's
Asia.
both, it's both Asia.
in Asia.
What, you guys didn't see each other? You're both in Asia. Come on.
So I was there from like 4 to 14 and a half. There was a couple of long trips back to the U.S. When you probably would overlap at some point in there.
Yeah, for sure. Whenever 3rd through 6th grade is, I have no idea what the age.
I'm also like I'm homeschooled, so I have no idea what that means.
What is grade?
Is that a homeschool thing? Because I'm in the same boat. I don't know what grades are. Yeah. I'm just like...
I'm sure there's like the others who are like the homeschoolers who are like high IQ and like, oh yeah, I passed that like 5 times and like and was in college by 15, but that wasn't me.
There are those homeschoolers, yes. We don't talk about them. So you guys did have overlap. You were on the same continent at the same time.
Yes, in theory.
So
I still remember the first time I saw Nathan. Our airplanes. His was going east, ours going west. We turned our heads and locked eyes and screamed in panic as the airplanes were that close. That's a lie, I made that up.
Yes, I guess how did you feel 3.5 years? Did you feel like it kind of changed your like personal like family culture much, or like how you viewed things?
Excuse me, Nathan. I'm going to fix your mic while you answer. Go ahead, Josh.
I've always attributed a lot of my family closeness to that. I think just that when we moved, my family was the only people that spoke the same language. So you kind of had to be close because you couldn't make any other friends.
Carter just did something with a knife by my face. That's cool.
Get closer to the mic. Stop backing up.
What was the question? I was distracted. Nathan, what was your question to Josh?
I like how it's like his family culture or like perception of culture changed potentially by growing up overseas. And he said the closeness of that was interesting to me when I remember coming back to the US when I could, because in India there's a lot of different languages that can be spoken. And so I used to be able to understand a little bit, but even like in India, the culture I was around was was a different people group, and they spoke a different language. So I was around a lot of different ones, and so I used to understand a little bit, but I never really got to speaking. So then coming back to the U.S., I remember being really weird to like feel like you were eavesdropping on everybody, because I was like, oh, I understand like everyone. I understand the guys talking in the corner. I understand the people who are walking by me and they're talking, and I'm like, oh, I understand everything that's going on. That's really weird.
Was there just like, was it chaos then when you were overseas? Like, just like, because there's all the noise of people talking, but you didn't know what anybody was saying really?
I think in some ways, you can be surprised that like in context of like if you're trying to get like a taxi ride or something, or there's context of like that position is known, and so And then a lot of like with facial expressions and body language, you can understand like I am giving you money to go to this location. Like so things like that are not as hard maybe as you might think.
Yeah.
But then yeah, it's hard to like have I mean, I guess as a younger kid, I didn't really notice it with friendships as much because like I guess you just do more. Like you do soccer, we played a lot of soccer. We'd play video games or stuff like that, and like you don't need to necessarily have strong interpersonal like talking to do those things. You can do them pretty well without those things,
Right.
and you can feel really close. Then as you get older, maybe you don't necessarily develop that depth of friendship unless like you start speaking the same language.
So did you actually pick up one of the languages at all?
I used to understand a little bit of like Devehi, and I used to understand like a tiny bit of Malayalam, I think it was. The Devehi was what I was around more. And I usually went along with like facial expressions because there's like yes is raising your eyebrows.
Yes. Sorry.
Please repeat.
I'm sorry. But Josh, you picked up some Chinese or Mandarin when you were over there, right? Because I mean, when I spent Christmas with you guys, like your family was.
They just switch when you're around.
They do. I'm just like, I don't know what's happening. I don't think I'm in trouble. I was really impressed. Like your mom's like inflections and stuff was pretty good.
Yeah, my parents both. I mean, they wouldn't admit it, but they were near fluent by the end. What felt like near fluent by the end of their time there. Like they could get around anywhere and talk to anyone.
Wow.
I never really. I wish I had dedicated more of my time as a kid into the importance of the language, but I didn't. So pretty much everything I know is because I minored in Mandarin in college.
Did your friends speak English? Like your Chinese friends, did they speak English so you guys could communicate that way? Or
I went to an international school.
Okay.
So the school was taught in English.
Gotcha.
And that's where like a lot of my close friends were. But then we had all the neighborhood kids that we'd go out and play with. And it was like Nathan was saying, where we didn't share the language at all. We just, I don't know, mess around in the playground and point to stuff and
Climb trees and fall out of them.
Yeah. Yeah.
Tell me that story. The Twiddies are very good at hurting themselves. Very, very good at hurting themselves based on what I've picked up over the last few months.
But surviving.
Oh, yeah. No, you guys are great survivors, but you pushed the limits. Let's put it in that category. But you broke your arm when you were over there, right?
Yeah, I don't think the story itself is that exciting because, well, it was just like me in a tree, and I yelled at my parents, hey, watch this! And I jumped and grabbed a branch and swung, and then it fell off and landed on my arm. And that's it. But it is fun because my parents do have the shot, like the photo of me grabbing
Right
onto
before
this
you
branch
fell.
moments before
That's beautiful.
falling on myself.
It's a truly horrifying moment.
Kind of had like a similar story, except it was on concrete. I was climbing the house and I was jumping to this ledge.
You were climbing a house.
Yeah, I climbed out of my house in India all the time because the way they're built, they're a lot more like square.
Okay.
And they have a lot of their, at least where we were. I don't know if it's like broadly across India, but in the south south where we were.
I wish I grew up in India. I would have loved it.
You have a lot of like ledges that are there if you fall because the roof is flat on top. So
They have just ledges, so if you're climbing the house and you fall off,
actually,
you'll be okay.
If you fall off the roof, it'll catch you. You don't die, hopefully.
Okay.
So like I was grabbing onto one of those and my hand slipped. So then I fell I think it was about 6 feet on the concrete and I bruised my back and just kind of laid there for like
But we're
a
unbroken.
good minute because I was just like, I can't breathe.
But you didn't break anything?
No.
Good. That's a really horrifying moment, whether you're in a car accident or like you trip and fall or whatever. And you like, there's that moment of panic right as it's happening and then it happens. And then you just sit there and you know that you're like really hurt. That just sucks. I hate that. I fear that moment over a lot of things.
It is interesting, kind of going back to like what Josh said. I think it's interesting how like a lot of when you're in foreign countries, a lot of kids are learning English in school at a much like they're learning more language than we are at a much higher rate than like in like U.S. schools. So like they will probably pick it up English faster than you'll pick up their language because like they do it every day in school almost.
You kind of feel really bad in that most of them could communicate with me in some way because they all had enough English, whereas I, living in China, had no Chinese. So I felt like the really lame white person who...
That's how I feel now. I feel like the lame white person.
All of my friends are bilingual, trilingual, quadlingual, whatever, and have to switch to speak to me.
Well, when Mexico inevitably invades us, we'll all learn Mexican, Spanish.
You're going to be first to go.
I know. I'm sorry. Maybe they'll find value in Back to the Roots. What's Back to the Roots in Spanish?
You're about to get a call from Mark England. He's about to...
I liked roasting Mark because he talked for, there was a period like a year or two ago where he talked about being Mexican a lot. I'm like, bro, you're like the least Mexican person I know. I can see it kind of, but calm down.
Is Mark England Mexican?
He has Mexican in him.
No.
Nathan, explain while I stop the recording.
What percent? Dad or mom's side?
Dad. I think it's like Irish. He's like half Irish, half Hispanic.
Yeah, okay. I see the connection. Same thing.
Anyway, let's hop off of that. Did you guys watch? I'm sorry. Shout out to Mark if you're listening. Did you guys watch, like, what was your entertainment sources when you were over there? Like, did you watch movies?
We had the complete first 3 seasons of SpongeBob on DVD.
Oh my gosh.
So we watched that.
Have you, was it in English?
Yeah.
I assume.
Uh-huh.
Have you seen the German SpongeBob? It's fantastic. Big fan. That was it? You guys were just...
That was most of it for TV.
Like 10 years, you guys just looped...
3 years.
Oh.
But yeah.
I know how to listen. I'm a good host.
So how was your first time in America? What's it like being over here?
1 season a year. Nathan, you're pretty physical, so I imagine you did most of your entertainment stuff outside and climbing on houses and whatnot. But
yeah, we did a lot of that. We played soccer indoors too because we had like.
Probably I was watching anime.
Actually, that is how because in India you get like Dragon Ball and stuff was on. So that and the Jackie Chan cartoon series. I don't know if people like Jackie Chan Adventure or something. So we did actually. That is probably how I got into it. Was from that.
Is that how you got into martial arts too?
Probably a little bit, but it wasn't until we come back to the U.S. and then like they had more opportunities, I guess, for that. I mean, there probably were in India as well, but
yeah,
we mainly played soccer and a little bit of basketball.
They play basketball over there?
They have some like courts. It's not as popular, and they're stone. So like when you not that I
the
did
basketballs
this,
are stone.
No, like
you guys play with
courts.
stone balls.
It would be a lot more jacked if we did. But the courts themselves are like stone, so they're not like
okay.
So not that I did this, but like if you did ever like play soccer on them and then you slid for a ball, or wasn't not that I did this, then your leg would basically be gone because the skin was gone because it was just on stone. Like not that I did that twice or 3 times, but
and that's why he's in med school.
Not yet.
That's why he's going to med school. Okay, but then at what point? Okay, so you got into anime, kind of because that's what was on.
I like how that's all you got from that.
Listen, I'm trying to figure out how to guide this conversation.
Good luck.
Tell us, Nathan. This is an intervention. When did the anime begin? Your random side note on the Dragon Ball being the only thing. That's what you said. Yeah, Dragon Ball being the only thing there. The only time I've seen Dragon Ball was me and Rachel's honeymoon because we had it playing in the background because it was like when we were just vibing in the room because it was the only thing on TV in English. Was this nonstop Dragon Ball marathon?
We're just gonna move past that. You guys just did is that your first like real dive into anime or into Dragon Ball at least?
That was the first time I'd seen Dragon Ball. Yeah,
but you got into it a little bit.
For those Dragon Ball heads, it was when Frieza.
I think they're ball heads.
When those ballers, when all the ballers out there, it was the episodes where Frieza unveiled his final form?
There's like 50. It just keeps going.
Okay.
Like he unveils for like such a long time.
It was, well, he'd switched final forms twice.
Oh, this is like for real.
And it turned into when he was the purple guy with the ball at the end.
Because he comes back later, like when he's
about.
like half cybernetic at one point too.
Yeah, I know this episode. I know Dragon Ball very
But
well.
like segueing, how
I'm trying to appeal to the fans that got on this podcast from the first episode.
The fans of this podcast, if they got on for the first episode, they have left a long time ago. We haven't touched anime since.
Where did you guys go for your honeymoon?
Costa Rica.
That was like was that the first time you've like been there, or
Costa Rica? Yeah.
how was it?
It was fun.
Nathan, that has nothing to do with anime. You just pulled away. I appreciate you trying, but that was horrible. But no, Costa Rica. That's a great spot for honeymoons, I hear.
Warm. A lot of animals.
Well, you guys went. Your
Monkeys,
guys' wedding.
sea turtle.
Monkeys.
A lot of monkeys. They're all over the resort. Howlers.
That's your wildlife biology degree coming in handy.
Yeah. That is low-key one of the reasons I wanted to go somewhere tropical, was to have somewhere with just a bunch of cool wildlife, cool crabs.
That's pretty neat.
Did you have like a lot? I always imagine like more like beaches with it, but is it like a lot of like tropical like tree adventuring as well, or?
For us, not for us really. There is in Costa Rica, cool rainforest. We were on a resort. So
Is that a dangerous area to go outside of your resort? Costa Rica. That's where you were. That's on an island. No, it's in Central America. Mm-hmm. Okay. But it's the safe part of Central America. Or is this like a Mexican, is this like a Mexican resort? I'm serious. If you go to a resort in Mexico, at least a few years ago, it
there
was
were a bunch of people like Mark England there.
Shut up! I'm trying!
It can't be that dangerous, can it?
No, but
Costa Rica
in certain parts of Mexico, you couldn't go outside of your resort if you wanted to stay safe. I don't know if that's still how it is.
Because they don't want Dragon Ball outside the resort.
Oh, is that
inside?
Dragon Ball brings peace.
Yeah.
According to the internet, Costa Rica is the safest country in the world.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Lowest crime rate of anywhere.
Really? Is that because they have really strict laws? Death if you steal something. You steal a chicken, right to jail.
I don't know.
You overcook this chicken, right to jail.
I think I remember reading they don't even have a militia because it's so safe.
A militia?
Like
a militia or a police force? Because there's a difference.
I don't know. I don't know the word. I don't know the lingo.
I thought militias were like strictly for uprisings and rebellions.
I don't know, guys. Stop looking at me.
David, help! Pull us together.
You're the most traveled of any of us.
So, Josh, where did your love for cinema begin then? Where did your love for cinema begin? If you grew up on SpongeBob and China,
on my honeymoon.
at what point did you start
Ball
appreciating?
Tournament came on TV, and finally I saw art, and it was all uphill from there. College.
So you were. That makes sense. That tracks. Because when you got back to the States, how old were you again? You're like,
I came back in 6th grade.
oh, dang it. With the grades again, I don't know how old that is.
I don't either.
I know that 8th grade, you're like 15. So that means you're like 13.
13. Yeah.
I think so. All I remember is that 8th grade is the last grade before you get to high school. And then it's freshman. And then it's freshman, sophomore, junior, senior. I remember when I was a freshman. Thank you. Nathan just showed me. 6th grade is 12 years old. I remember when I was a freshman in high school, homeschooled, of course, people asked me, so what year are you? And I wasn't familiar with those names. So the one I knew there was senior, and I knew that there was junior, and I knew there was some other ones that were confusing. But I'm like, junior is clearly the first one because you're a junior. So I told people I was a junior when I was like 16 years old, and they're like, what? No way. I'm like, yeah, I'm homeschooled. And they're like, oh, okay. And then I come to find out, oh, yeah, no.
It tracks. It logically kind of makes sense. You know?
Logically, sure. But those names do not follow logic, unfortunately.
So I'm cleaning up
Like
a
this,
spill.
this is great Asmar part of like the
Asmar.
Yeah.
You need to point your mic at it. Hey, crinkle that right next to Nathan's mic.
Crispy clean.
Nice.
I got into movies in college. I don't know. You said something about that.
What was the first movie you ever watched?
Didn't you think about being a film major at one point, or wasn't that something?
Yeah, I started cinematic arts, but that was mostly because I just didn't want. I was undecided, and I just wanted to have some major, take a few classes, see if I liked it, but because of that, a lot of my good friends in college were cinematic arts majors, very into the hipster art films, and I saw a lot of those. And
I'm so glad we're friends because I feel like, I mean, growing up with like around Graham especially, I feel like I was exposed to fine film or whatever you want to call it, but they
indie, hipster, pretentious movies.
Yeah, and I started appreciating them because I saw a couple of good ones, but then you exposed me to some other good ones too, I think. And then you just have given me somebody to watch bad movies with, which is awesome. But we haven't done one in a while. I think the last one we did, there was the night we did Iron Mask, and then we watched the sequel to it right after, right? Or was the prequel to Iron Mask? I feel like we watched both of them. Was it Iron Mask or was it a different one? There was one night we watched two.
Is that the one that had like Arnold Schwarzenegger in there at one point? And,
and he's just like, he's some like, what was his position? He was like
a prison warden.
Yeah, he was like the prison warden in some Asian prison, and just in the middle of like a fight scene, he just starts plugging exercise. If you would not exercise, you would be able to beat me. It was such a good movie. It was so bad. Shout out to the UFC for plugging it in the middle of one of their fight nights. Otherwise, we would not have heard of it.
I think the film I ever remember seeing was with my roommate, Carlos, in college. It was called Me and Earl and the Dying Girl.
Sounds familiar. I never saw it, though.
I still often cite as my favorite movie.
Wow.
It's great. That's my plug. Me and Earl and the Dying Girl. It's great. Watch it with your family.
I don't remember the first movie I ever saw, but I do remember the first thing I remember watching on live TV. And it was a news story about a girl, like a little girl, who stepped into her toilet for some reason. She got both feet stuck in the toilet, and the fire department had to show up with like a chisel and like break apart the toilet to get her out because her feet were jammed into the toilet. That was the first thing I remember seeing on TV.
Explains a lot.
Explains how every night I just have an urge to like pry my feet down the hole. Yep.
And live TV was probably all downhill from there.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yo, favorite movie as a kid? Ricky Tikki Tavi. What about y'all?
Ricky Tikki Tavi.
It's about a mongoose that eats snakes.
It's pretty sick.
Protect his.
But you like snakes now.
I like snakes then too.
You like grab snakes all the time. How many snakes have you grabbed in your life?
2.
Oh, I was there for one of them. That's awesome.
That's a lot.
Wait, I've seen you grab 2 snakes. That is a lie.
I did it for my major.
That was actually, I mean, that is pretty neat. Sorry, I'm going to sidetrack from your question, but the fact that you like learned that in your major, like how to grab snakes, and your teachers like wanted you to get bit, right? Explain that.
That was the most cultish thing I ever did in college. Was we were monitoring queen snakes and doing a survey
with the snakes.
Like a survey for like population survey.
Snake. What's it like being a snake? How much longer do you think you'll be a snake? Welcome back.
Sorry. Sorry.
Now I gotta put the explicit sticker on it.
Play it again.
Welcome back from the technical difficulties we just had. You see, I had my laptop, so we troubleshot it, and we're okay. Fortunately. Okay, continuing. You did an interview with snakes. That's where we left off. You were doing a...
Oh, yeah. You asked me about my cult experience at college.
I did, yes. And you were...
Just that I was a wildlife biology major, we're taking a population survey on queen snakes. We catch a water snake, which are perfectly harmless.
So you were told.
But very aggressive. They bite. Like tiny needle-like fangs, but they're very aggressive. You pick them up, they will bite you, which is the snake that you saw me get bit by on the camping trip.
Yes. This is one of the most cool things I've ever seen a human being do. He chased down a snake in the water, grabbed it. His hand was bleeding. It was magnificent. If I was a woman, I would have swooned.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
That means a lot to me.
Yeah.
My professor catches this snake. He gets bit by it and says, hey, anyone who's willing, I want you to pick up the snake from me, and it's going to bite you, and I want you to not throw it. Because the lesson he was saying was he didn't want us to be reckless, like harm wildlife as we're doing this. Like, pick up a snake, get bit, like chuck the snake and harm it or something, or spaz. So he was trying to like show us that like snake bites, if it's not venomous, aren't that bad. It'll be a little pinprick and you're fine as long as you don't react.
Yeah.
So then, we're all passing the snake around. It's biting all of us. And, we're all holding on and letting it bite.
Well, you're either passing a blunt around in college or passing around a river snake. One is more dangerous than the other. But yeah, that's very cool. It's a cool skill that you got. Nathan, do you have any snake stories?
I mean, I killed a cobra once, which kind of goes in stark contradiction to what I was just talking about.
Well, mine was for harmless. Getting bit by a poisonous snake is bad.
Yours is pretty cool sounding, but Nathan sounds totally awesome. Okay. You killed a cobra.
Yeah, so I think I was like...
Was it with your bare hands?
No.
Did you bite it?
Yes.
Did you suffocate it between your toes?
Sometimes.
Did you just put its mouth in your... Did you just put its head in your mouth and suffocate it?
What?
All right.
Yeah, I used the... we call it a weed whacker because we used it to like whack weeds, but it's basically just like a long piece of metal, like a machete. That was sharp. That's what I was. I think I was like 11. And so my dog found it and was like combating with it.
And cobras are poisonous, right?
Yeah.
So it's dangerous. Okay.
Yeah. I don't know if this one was specifically because some of them like mimic, but I could see the crown. I don't know what do you call that?
The hood.
The hood. Is that what it's called?
I don't actually know what it's called.
Yeah. But whatever the shape of the head, like, that's a cobra. Yeah. So I grabbed the weed whacker, ran over, didn't want to kill my dog because my dog was just didn't know, hey, this is poisonous. So I hit it once, and gets cut in half, and then it comes back up because it's not quite dead yet. So I have to do it again, and then it was done after that. But yeah, it kind of happened pretty fast. So I don't know how I was the one who did that. Like, I don't know how I got there first.
Because you were a hero. You were born to be a hero.
At 10.
To protect the innocent.
Yeah. My dog.
Yeah.
Yeah. With the long piece of metal. So yeah, it was a good...
it's pretty neat.
That's pretty rad.
Yeah. I don't know. It just happened really fast. So like... But yeah, I don't know how like my parents weren't like, maybe let's not let the child, deal with the poisonous.
How old were you at the time?
10, 11.
Dang. He felt his calling early.
But yeah, I liked my dog. Sandy was a good dog.
She didn't end up dying because of a cobra.
No, she died of old age. So
she died of old age because you defended her in that moment.
That moment, yeah.
What a good dog owner. I haven't killed a cobra, and I haven't handled a river snake. I did see a rattlesnake once in the wild.
I've never seen a rattlesnake.
That was scary because I grew up. We lived in Colorado for like 3 years, and so we went on hikes out there. And rattlesnakes out there are more common than they are here in the Midwest. So we were taught, like, if you see a rattlesnake, here's what you do. And eventually, it just kind of was ingrained in me that like rattlesnakes are like quicksand. For some reason, they tell you how to deal with it, but you're never going to see one in real life. But then I was on my camping trip 2 years ago, and I did this big trail by myself in Roosevelt National Park in North Dakota. Big trail. It was like, 4 miles. But it was toward the end of the day. I hiked up there, and it was like a big loop. I forget what the name of that kind of trail is, but it is. So like you go up one way, and then you don't come back the same way. You follow it back down around. It takes you to where you started. So I hike up. I get to the lookout point. It was pretty cool. I start coming back. I'm like the only person out on the trail. It's starting to get dark. I'm like, I can't really be out here after dark, but I felt really good. This was my first hike of the trip. Felt really nice. And then I was just trotting down the trail, and I look up, and I'm in this kind of ravine-ish bit, and both sides next to the trail, it's only like 50 feet that's walkable, but most of that is all dense underbrush, and the trail just goes straight through the underbrush. And I'm just walking down, and I look up, and I see like 15, 20 feet in front of me, the tail of the rattlesnake go into the underbrush on one side, and I just like froze. I'm like, oh my gosh, it's happening. There's one thing, like I stop, drop, and roll when you catch on fire. Don't struggle when you get into quicksand. What do I do when I see a rattlesnake?
Stop, drop, and struggle.
Which I almost did. But I freaked out because I'm like, and I like slowly backed up, and I raced through my mind. I'm like, how else am I going to get out of here? Because it's getting dark. I'm going to have to hike the long way back around from where I came. Or like I could try to go through the underbrush on the other side, but who's to say there's not rattlesnakes in there that I just can't see? I don't want to go down the trail, even though it went off the trail. So I ended up hiking all the way back around, and I thought that was a scary bit too, because there's like this massive plateau, like half a mile long. That's a part of the trail. And I hit that plateau, and there's like a herd of buffalo that you have to walk past. But then there was also in the distance this animal that I thought might have been a wolf. And it was too far away to tell, and I was already panicked because I'm like, I've already seen a rattlesnake. There's no limits to what I could run into now. And I'm like, that might be a wolf, it might not be. There was just one of them, so I wasn't sure. And as I got closer, I realized it was like an antelope or like a deer or something, but it was like very pale, so it looked like it could have been a wolf. But I made it back okay. But the rest of that hike was pretty panicked.
That's so cool. The whole trail, I was hoping to see a rattlesnake. And pretty much
the Appalachian Trail, for those of you who don't know.
For those of you who haven't listened to the podcast.
Go back to episode like 13 or something. The one with Josh on it. You were hoping to see a rattlesnake, though.
Yeah, because, I mean, they should be all over. And pretty much everybody I hiked with saw a multitude of rattlesnakes on their trip. Dang. Never saw one.
Did you see a bear? I can't remember.
I saw a baby bear.
And you were looking for the mom, but you never saw the mom.
Right.
That's scary.
Which honestly, I think seeing a baby bear was more frightening than seeing a mama bear, because you know something could be close by.
What was when you were in India, Nathan, were you briefed as a child on like dangerous wildlife?
When I was spawned in to do not really, because we were in Trivandrum, which sometimes is described as like the Silicon Valley of India. So it's a pretty urban area. But we did like, when we would go out into like more country areas, remember as kids we survived, but like we made poor choices. Sometimes wearing like orange and red shirts when there was like, I don't know if they're like water buffalo or kind of like...
Sorry, Josh and I just had a moment because he killed a water buffalo.
Cow adjacent. Oh yeah.
With my bare hands. with your
exoskeleton.
Josh hit a water buffalo with his car. Anyway, continue, Nathan.
So whatever, like, cow adjacent animal that is, because those can get agitated like bulls with like bright colors. But we had like a couple of times where like that almost was an issue, but it was never a real issue. Though probably the worst was like wild dogs you had to be careful of. Remember when we would go to this abandoned house that we would climb, which in retrospect was like a really bad idea because like we could have died so many times if we did that. But we did it a lot. I guess we were all pretty light, so like it kind of balanced out. But then there was also people who would draw like pornographic images in chalk on there as well. And then there was lots of like wrappers of drugs and like just stuff that you had because it was just a kind of a hangout spot for people. We never saw anyone there when we were there, which is kind of, so it was interesting. But we had to pass these guard dogs for these people. They're on chain, so we always had to get our sticks. I mean, we were tiny, so we would die. There was no like winning that against the dog. But we had our sticks in case like they got off the leash or they forgot to leash them or something. But
there's something empowering about carrying a stick as a child. Absolutely.
It's the same size as you, and you're just like, stick. I am powerful now.
I wonder what the most dangerous animal is in India. Is it the chupacabra? Oh wait, that's Mexican.
Yeah. Yeah. Close, you know.
And that's not even true. The most dangerous animal in Mexico is Mark England.
Shout out to Mark. Sorry, buddy.
He really should have been here. It's like how much
Should have been.
being referenced.
We have to have him on so we can roast him sometime live. Anyways, is there anything you guys are primed to talk about? I'm gonna cut this part out, by the way.
We're going to cut this part out.
This part right here that we're talking about.
Yes. Just waiting for my chance.
This is why this podcast will never blow up. It's because I'm a child who laughs at things like that.
His timing is good.
It is really good.
Serious. What do we segue? What do we segue into from?
I don't know. So yeah, actually, I'm not. I don't know what I feel about this root beer. Generally, we don't talk about the. Generally, we don't talk about the root beer much, but this one let me down a little bit. If I'm going to be honest, because I remember when I started this podcast, I like Googled where to get root beer and like what kind of root beer to get, and based on the research I did then, Sioux City was like some of the best root beer you could get, but there's a flavor in it that reminds me of tap water.
The aftertaste.
The aftertaste. There's like I don't know. I don't know how I feel about it. I don't know if I'm going to crack into the second bottle.
I think it's really good root beer.
Kind of like it.
Yeah, part of your problem, I think, is...
Part of my problem.
Well, no, what I mean is with this podcast, you experience so much root beer.
It's true.
Whereas I, in my life, don't experience that much root beer. So this is like, that's better than the average root beer.
Okay, so...
I do like how 1 out of every 2 bottles has an upside down logo.
I was just noticing that.
I don't know why that was. We went to buy them, and I'm like, I don't know why these are upside down.
It doesn't feel intentional.
No, I feel like it was an accident, so that's why the shop I got them at ended up with them, because it's a pretty sketchy shop. It's called the Pop Shop in Niles, but it has lots of good stuff.
Can I open the second one?
Yeah, that's why it's out here. Okay, so I heard this on another podcast, and I'm just going to totally copy it because I think it sounds fun. So we're going to rate fast food restaurants. From a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being sucky. Actually, let's go 5, 1 to 5. 5 being awesome, 1 being sucky. Okay, we're going to start off with McDonald's.
As I've gotten older, I feel like every year of age, or like every 5 years of age, I take 1 like point off of McDonald's.
Really?
I feel like I do, yeah. I don't know if it's changed or like I don't really enjoy eating there anymore. Like the fries, I don't feel are as good.
Really?
Yeah.
What's your go-to fries then?
I don't really have one. I guess Wendy's is like close to us. And
maybe you just don't like fries.
No, I liked the old fries, but then they changed.
The McDonald's changed their fries? Mm-hmm. Okay. Didn't know that. Josh, so what's your number? What's your number?
I don't know on McDonald's. I kind of feel the same where there was a point in my life where McDonald's kind of reached a peak or where I thought, like, this is really good. I do think it has gone down. I'm never craving McDonald's. I do think they have amongst the best fries still. I give them a 3 or a 2.
I feel like I'd give them a 3, to be honest. My biggest thing with them right now is they're just so cost effective. It's bad for you, I know. But when I'm trying to get some protein and not just, well, it is crap. So
I think McDonald's has lost some points for me too, and that the prices have gone up.
That's true.
And now it's pretty much the same price as someplace like Chick-fil-A.
Yeah.
And I would never choose McDonald's over Chick-fil-A for the same amount of money.
Okay, well, Starbucks. Or sorry, not Starbucks.
Starbucks.
Chick-fil-A. What would you give Chick-fil-A then?
Shoot, dog. As far as fast food restaurants go, probably a 5.
Dang. Okay.
It's one of my favorites.
Okay, Nathan.
I feel like I'd get like a 4.5. I don't really like eating at Chick-fil-A that much, but I feel like the quality is very good for like what you get.
So you're looking at this very from an outside perspective, objectively. What is it for you? What is it for you?
I don't eat at fast food, I guess, as much anymore. I realized the reason I went for the most part was like because I enjoyed like the social outing of it. Like when you go there at like 1 a.m. with your friends for some reason, or at college, or like you have like you're hungry at 1 a.m. again, and so you go there, and that's what you eat.
Yeah.
And I enjoy that experience more than like the actual food itself.
See, Chick-fil-A, I'm actually going to give it a 3 as well. Their food is better, I think.
When did you become an atheist?
It's better quality. It's better quality than McDonald's, which I also gave a 3. But they have less options, and that hurts it a little bit for me. Okay, first of all, and their nuggets, I'm sorry. Their nuggets are good, but if you're not getting them for a party in like a huge platter and you get like a 12 count, they're tiny, and they do not fill you up. It's just, and then like the grilled nuggets are just kind of a joke because then it's just like, it's even less.
I will say, like, I think my favorite thing to get is the grilled nuggets, but like there just isn't a lot of them, and that is disappointing.
It feels good because they feel healthier. There's not breading or anything on them, but there's just nothing there. So for that reason, I'm going to give a 3 because McDonald's, at least if I'm feeling chicken, I can get chicken. If I'm feeling a burger, I can get a burger. There's just a wider gambit at McDonald's.
Side note, I love the idea of the grilled nuggets, but I was kind of turned off forever when I worked there. Because every time we opened that grilled nugget drawer, it reeked so bad.
Wait, grilled nugget drawer? I imagine this is just like a kitchen drawer where you just throw a bunch of
it's
nuggets.
Closed, except it's like a warming drawer.
It's lukewarm.
So it keeps it's like a drawer you pull out that keeps the nuggets warm.
It just smells gross.
It smells so bad.
That's weird.
Every time you open it, which was like every couple minutes, the whole restaurant just
I'm going to crack a joke to a Chick-fil-A employee sometime. He's going to like, man, this stinks. I'm like, yeah, I like that grilled chicken drawer.
And he's going to say, what? I love the smell of a grilled nugget drawer. He's going to be a nerd.
I will say, I want to bring this up because in the podcast where I heard them do this, where they rated the fast food restaurants, when they got to Chick-fil-A, it's a secular podcast. And they gave it significantly less points because of where Chick-fil-A stands on like their support of like anti-LGBTQ things. And I thought that was fascinating because growing up on this side of the spectrum, it's been very much like we support Chick-fil-A because they're anti-gay, and also we don't support Home Depot because they like gay people, sort of thing. It was just very interesting to hear the opposite side of that. And I'm not saying I pick up on either side of that now, but growing up on the one side of it, it's just been interesting.
Oh, it does feel lame if you're rating fast food, though, because I'm sure. I'm in pure taste mindset, because I'm sure a lot of these businesses are probably pretty...
See, that's where I land.
Corrupt.
I don't really care what they do unless they like are supporting human trafficking or something, which I'm sure some of them are just way under the table that nobody knows about. But I'm generally the mindset, I don't really care what the company or organization supports as long as they have quality, whatever it is that they're putting out. I feel like you have thoughts on that, Nathan.
No, it's interesting. A lot of like, I guess when you rate something or like when you invest value into like, should I support or not support something, your personal views do come in. I mean, that's how like you often buy off of emotion. I mean, if you go into like Wolf of Wall Street and like, what, they'll sell me this pen. Like a lot of people miss the point of it's not about the pen, it's about the emotion. Like that, and that's why he goes into like, imagine you're signing the biggest contract of your life, and this is the pen. You want a good pen when you do that. Like so we're very emotionally driven to like when we buy or how we buy. So I think it makes sense, but I do think you want to try and I don't know, and yeah, unless they're doing something like super awful, giving or taking away points from a product off of something that isn't really relevant to it. Like for food, does it taste good? Is it not good? Like it can have all these, because at the end of the day, the product itself has to be good. Mm-hmm. Like if it's not good. Now like McDonald's, maybe it's not as quality, but it is definitely, at least it used to be more affordable.
Right.
And so I guess like the socioeconomics of it is like, it is more affordable. So like people eat it because you can get more food, like you were kind of saying, like for a more affordable price. And that's something that goes into it as well.
I do think that's one of the smartest things McDonald's has ever done is not put their hat in the ring on anything kind of controversial. As far as I know, they haven't. I feel like they've stayed pretty clean on that respect. So they're not losing to business. Okay, Subway. 2. You know what? No, 1.
2. Yeah.
I'm giving it a 1.
I'm not a fan.
Me neither.
I put it pretty low. I have this one. I feel like I've never eaten Subway by choice in my life. Only when it's like catered to places.
Right. There's always part of me that dies if I'm somewhere and they're like, we got lunch. I'm like, oh, sick. And then it's just like the little tiny Subway sandwiches.
But there was one time on the trail where I was out of food and I got into town, and the first restaurant that hit me, that like I passed by, was Subway. And I walked in, ordered 2 footlongs, I just ate them both. And it was one of the best tasting experiences of my life.
Do you remember?
I was so hungry.
What was it? Do you remember what they were?
What was it? I feel like I don't remember. I know it was a special at the time. Like it was on the outside of the building. Like, try our new. It was like steak something.
Put that in the advertising. If you two are a mid-20s man who's been starving in the wilderness for the last couple of weeks,
it'll blow your mind.
Subway, eat fresh or not, but you're off the trail, so it's all good. In stark contrast, Jimmy John's.
Below Subway.
I'm gonna give 3.5.
I'll give it Jimmy. I hate their bread.
I don't like subs.
Personally.
I generally will not.
You don't want to know what it's done to me.
Okay, that being said, the first time I had Jimmy John's, I was working a contract job. It was that weird like time of high school or out of high school where you're just working a bunch of random jobs. And I was working for a restoration company who was cleaning out the dorms at Notre Dame because there was some kind of, they like redid the brick on the outside of the dorm rooms, but the air conditioning units sucked all like the like concrete dust in and blasted all over the room. So we went in and cleaned them. That's not important. What is important is that the one day we got Jimmy John's for lunch, and it was my first time eating it. And I got like the Italian something. I remember it tasting very good, but like in a couple hours, I was ready to explode a bathroom somewhere. It was very rough. And it was the kind of job where you didn't really just take bathroom breaks. So I remember suffering through for, I think, a couple hours. So that was my first experience, and I had to ease back into Jimmy John's after that. And I have not gotten that sandwich since because of that. But I don't like subs in general, but I think Jimmy John's does a much better job than Subway. It feels like it's more quality ingredients. So I'm gonna give it a 3. I'm gonna give it a 3.
So that restaurant we went to with Mac,
yeah, it was what?
There's with a C.
Caracas.
That's probably the only like sub style.
Venezuelan, yeah, that place.
It's probably the only sub style like restaurant, like where you have bread and you have things in the bread.
Caracas.
That I really
That was
liked.
so good.
That's probably my favorite local
That's
restaurant.
like a 5.
I felt like I was gonna.
That's a 6 on a 5
I felt like
scale.
I was gonna die.
Oh, their Yanera fries.
I just remember getting a ton of food and being very happy with it. I think I got a headache. If I eat so much I get a headache, that's telling you something. Okay.
You're allergic to something?
It's telling you something. I don't know what. Wendy's.
You ever eat a food that's so good that like your throat starts to constrict and you get all sniffly?
Man, that tells you something. Wendy's.
2.
Yeah, after like, it's like kind of like Josh was saying with the Subway experience. It's that thing with like, it's 1 a.m. and you go there and you get like the Baconator, and it's really good.
Yeah.
But then any other time in your life, you're like, this is a 2.
I remember going there for lunch one day at work, and they put Miracle Whip on my burger instead of mayo, and I could taste the difference. There is a difference between Miracle Whip and mayo, and I tasted it that day, and because of that, it loses a point. I'm going to say a 2. I think it has potential to be a 3, but I never seek out Wendy's.
I give the first root beer I had a 5, but the second one a 1. It's like
Really?
tastes like metal.
Yeah, that's what mine tasted like.
This one didn't though. My first one.
Maybe it's from Flint.
Did you have the upside down label or the right side up label first?
I had right side up first. What if they marked them? What if they
Wait,
poisoned?
upside down was the one I liked, and the
Oh,
one
no.
the one that tastes like metal is the right side up one.
I wonder if they marked the bad ones. Well, we're gonna find out.
Well, they marked the good ones.
Yeah, you're right. That doesn't make sense. Anyways,
That's so
hopefully
weird.
we don't die. Yeah, Wendy's. So we all agree Wendy's is not that great. Okay, we're gonna get into pizza. Domino's.
4.
4. Why?
I love their crust is so good.
I kind of like a 4 as well. It's been a while since I've had them, but I always
I
have
Domino's
good
often,
memories.
But their crust.
I think I've only had them like less than 5 times in my life, but I feel like every time it's been surprisingly really, really good. Have you ever gotten like pasta from one of these pizza places like Pizza Hut or?
No.
Me neither. Wait, maybe I have. I can't remember. It just feels wrong to me. I wouldn't get pasta from one of those places. I think I would give Domino's. I'd give them a 3. I'd give them a 3. Oh, okay. Panera. This is not fast food to me.
I don't know. Does that count?
No.
You sit down.
You do. Yeah. But yeah, it's not fast food, but let's rate it anyways because I think it's going to be fun to tear apart.
I don't know if I can tear it apart. I've been there so seldomly in my life.
I'm always Panera and like McAllister's have like the exact same image and like taste in my brain.
Yeah.
Like they're like the same restaurant to me.
When I think of Panera, I think of soup more than sandwich though, whereas McAllister's I think of mostly deli sandwiches. And I'll be honest, I'm just not I do like some things at McAllister's. If I'll go, I'll eat and I'll have a good time, but it's not my go-to. I don't know if I would ever choose to go to McAllister's. I'm just delis in general. Again, it goes back to the sandwich thing. I can make a sandwich at home. Even Martin's, which if you're not listening to this in the Niles, Michigan area, you don't know what Martin's is. It's a grocery store.
It's our friend Martin.
But they have a really good deli.
His twin, so we call him Martins. They're both named the same thing.
It's 2 Martins. They have a really good deli, and they have these really good paninis. But at the end of the day, a sandwich is a sandwich. I could make it at home, and it would taste about the same. So I'm not going to get a sandwich if I go out to eat. Unless there's some special kind of meat that I'm not going to have at home. What were we rating? Oh, Panera.
Like a 3, I guess.
I think I'd give them a 3. Their broccoli cheddar soup's really good. And their pastries are really good too. Josh, give them a number.
3. 4. 3. I feel like I'm really being good, overpriced. Panera review. Taco Bell 10.
Okay, that was really interesting. Again, the podcast I listened to where they did this, they put Taco Bell in its own category. And I think they're right to do that because
I would kill a snake for Taco Bell.
It hits like nothing else. And it also sucks worse than anything else. You can't really rate it, but it's very good.
It's 3.5. But again, it's like
3.5.
It's kind of like again, it's like Stockholm syndrome of like it's the only thing within a couple miles of your school hypothetically, and I like to all people go to.
I'm gonna give it a 4 because it tastes really good, but it is pretty destroying to everything inside of me.
It's also pretty like it's not cheap. Like it's
not as cheap as it was, and that's probably mostly because when I go now, I'll get like the grilled cheese burrito, which is amazing. The first time I had that, I had gone to LA with a John Kempo, and we got back really late. We took an Uber all the way back from the O'Hare Airport back to South Bend, and we were going to go to Steak and Shake, but Steak and Shake was closed because it was during COVID. The only thing open was Taco Bell, and we went through. He ordered his thing. I'm like, I never go here, so I just got what he got, and it was the grilled cheese burrito. And that hits like nothing else when you haven't eaten anything but like PB&J for the last day or two. And it's like 1:30 in the morning. It was amazing. So yeah, Taco Bell is really good. But the grilled cheese burrito, which is the only thing I get, is more expensive than most things on their menu. So they're not as affordable to me.
Yeah, but for the Taco Bell stands out there, the real way to go is the app. Because the app still has the $5 combo box with anything any real thing you'd want.
Was it you guys who got Taco Bell in the bar crawl?
Yes.
Good times. Okay.
you and Rachel.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
KFC.
1.
I will also give them a 1.
KFC.
0.5.
I'm not going to even say overrated because nobody
KFC
raves.
blows my mind that I've never met someone that's loved KFC or that's been gung ho for KFC.
Oh, my dad's side of the family, actually.
Never mind.
It's overpriced. You barely get any food, and it doesn't taste that good. It's just, that's a low score. I think we can move on. I think we're all in agreement. Arby's. Once again, sandwiches, low score. I give it a 2 simply because of their fries. No, I give them a 3 because of their fries. Their curly fries are unmatched.
1.
I feel like I can't rate them because I don't think I've eaten an Arby's in like, I can't remember. I can remember it, but I have no idea in like the last 20 years.
You want to say more?
Oh no, I don't know. Moving on. Let's go Little Caesars. I
have some deep sentimental connections to Little Caesars.
I'm gonna give it a 4.
I'd probably give it a 4.
I like their pizza.
I'd give it a 3, but like, yeah, it's like...
And the hot and ready's hit. Let's be honest. Because when you're craving a pizza and you don't want to wait long for it, there's nowhere else you can go to just get a pizza that's hot and ready. It's good. Did you ever have their nacho pizza? It had like
the pretzel pizza?
No, the pretzel pizza.
Yes.
It had a pretzel.
Well, that's the deep
crust.
Sentimentality to me. Is me and two of my high school friends. That's what we do every week, pretty much. We get a pretzel pizza, and then when they stopped making pretzel pizza, we started making it at home by finding that Little Caesar recipe.
Am I wrong by recollecting that instead of marinara, it just had
cheese
nacho
sauce, yeah.
cheese?
It was a pretzel base with nacho cheese.
I'm sorry, what loser created this pizza? It's a beautiful pizza. It tasted really good, but they're just like, what if we did cheese on cheese? It's like wearing a denim jacket with jeans.
Oh, it was so good.
It doesn't make sense.
I'm gonna make you guys a pretzel pizza. I still have
Please
the recipe.
do. Please do. I'm all about it.
I have a common theme of like what we rate highest is when you're deprived of like human necessity of like money, sleep, other normal things that you need. These are the options that are like the most in our hearts.
I like that these are the foods I can afford.
Okay, I'm going to pull the pin and run away on this one. Panda Express.
I've been to Panda Express like twice.
Same.
Pretty fire.
Like a 3.5.
4. All right, he's gone again. Back to snake talk. What other snakes have we seen, Nathan? I saw a copperhead once. It's really cool. It's big.
Just keep talking about Panda Express. I love Panda Express. Guys, when I leave, we're not done recording. I'm just checking the camera. I really like Panda Express. I know it's not actually Chinese food. I know it's not. It's very American. And I know it's got lots of salt, but I really like it.
How many snakes do you think you could fit in Panda Express?
Oh, gosh.
In a large box?
Yeah.
Well, if it was this copperhead that I saw, 1. It's a big snake.
You saw a copperhead? You didn't tell that story.
Hey, sorry. Snake talk only happens when you leave the table. We're back to fast food. I've seen 3 copperheads in my life.
Okay, Popeyes.
We want to fit, your
Popeyes.
culture.
Popeyes!
3 maybe. It's good. I've only had it once, and it was with the Twiddies and you at the one the Harvest or Gospel City.
Oh yeah. It was at
picnic out. What I don't know what that was.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's fun.
I really like their sandwiches.
5.
I do. I'm gonna give it a 4. Because as far as fried chicken goes, fast food, I think it's probably one of the best.
To me, it's the best fried chicken we have here.
Even Raising Cane's?
Well, I feel like when I say fried chicken and chicken tenders, they're 2 different.
Okay, that's fair. Yeah. I will give Popeyes the upper hand over Chick-fil-A any day. The chicken is crispier, it's juicier, and I feel like it's just way beefier.
Oh, dude, I dropped Chick-fil-A to a 4. Just because there's way better chicken restaurants.
Yeah.
I think when I said 5, I was thinking like good chicken plus the milkshakes.
Milkshakes, I feel like, are low-hanging fruit for fast food places to just serve when they don't really have anything else. They just want to add another thing to their menu, and milkshakes are very easy to make. And yet somehow McDonald's is always broken.
All right. Hey, McDonald's, if you're listening to this, I'm sorry. I hope your machine gets better.
I've heard that there's conspiracies about that.
Yeah.
I'm Googling it. Okay, the top result is the main reason that McDonald's ice cream machines are always down is that McDonald's ice cream machines take forever to clean, taking up to 4 hours to sanitize, and it has to be done every single day. When the machines are in the process of being cleaned, they can't serve ice cream. 4 hours. That's half of a workday.
Yeah, how is that possible?
That's pretty intense. That sucks. Have you guys had Whataburger?
Never had it.
I have not had it either.
I've only had it in an airport.
Oh, wait, that's where I had it.
Yeah.
I was going down to Louisiana for a work thing, and that was the one place I had it.
Dallas?
No.
No?
I don't think it was Dallas. Pull your mic in a little bit closer.
Oh, sorry.
No, you're fine. You don't have to lean in. You can pull it to you. No, I don't think it was Dallas. I was flying down to Louisiana. I think it was Baton Rouge.
Okay.
And I got a fat burger, and it was okay, but it didn't really blow my mind. I was kind of on the same level as Sonic, to be honest, for me. I like Sonic. I actually do crave their burgers on occasion, but Nathan, you have not had Whataburger?
Sonic's like a 1 for me, to be honest, but I don't know. Maybe I just don't eat it enough.
I don't know if I've eaten at Sonic, like, ever.
Really?
I love their shakes.
I'm gonna give it a 3 because they do have their shakes are really good, but they're really expensive. It's like a small is like $5.
Last time I was at Sonic, all I had was a pack of mayonnaise.
Stay tuned for a short film that we are going to release soon.
Or I have to eat a pack of mayonnaise. From Sonic specifically.
You didn't have to, but you did it, and it turned out great. Okay. Zaxby's. Back to back. And then we'll include Raising Cane's in this conversation because let's be honest, it's the same restaurant.
Have you been to Zaxby's?
Yeah. I went to one down in Tennessee, and it was on my way to Passion. I stayed the night at a hotel, and I'm like, I'm going to get Zaxby's.
For our northern listeners, Zaxby's is a restaurant.
Thank you. I needed that. I've never.
That was really good.
Yeah. I could tell Nathan was wondering.
I did not like it as much as Raising Cane's.
Yes,
I think Raising Cane's is better than Zaxby's. I know that not everybody agrees with that, but that's where I stand on it. Unashamedly. I think the sauce is fresher at Raising Cane's.
3, Raising Cane's 5. That's my review in a nutshell.
Yep, I'm going to... that's really weird that I would put Raising Cane's so high, but I think I will give it a 5, even though they pretty much just have one thing. I'm not really a huge fan of their chicken sandwich. I do remember trying that once, and I wasn't really a fan.
I'd probably give it like a 4. It's pretty good.
What would you give a 5? Not Five Guys.
It's like a 4.
Five Guys. Five Guys. I'm gonna give Five Guys a 5. To be honest,
I give Five Guys a 5.
Yep. Burgers are on point.
I feel obligated to.
Very good. They're a little spendy, but again, everything's kind of expensive now. Like Raising Cane's, you'll spend just as much there as you would at Five Guys.
Oh, there's a it's not really a fast food restaurant in South Africa called Spurs, and I'll give that a 5.
Where?
In South Africa.
You've been to South Africa?
Yeah, that's a 5.
I feel like that was a very unnecessary flex on us.
You said, well, that's a 5. That's what I would rank a 5.
Well, okay, I'm sorry. I was too
My
blown
favorite
away by
fast
where
food
it was.
chicken is Deco's, which is a Taiwanese restaurant.
Screw you. I haven't been anywhere.
Been to Montana.
Yeah, but that's just...
Have you been to Montana?
No.
See, we haven't been to Montana. Look at that.
That's rad as heck.
They do have... They have really good...
You're so cool, Carter.
They have really good huckleberry pie.
Wow.
Thanks, guys.
I've never had huckleberry pie.
Josh, I'm sorry.
I haven't
said
either,
screw
actually.
you.
Wow. You're so cultured and experienced in ways we never will be.
No, it's very hillbilly, but it's great. What was the place in South Africa called?
Spurs.
Spurs.
Like a spur.
Like, what did they have?
They do steak, they do burgers, they do all that, but the meat is just better. Like all of that's just cooked better. I don't know if it's the quality. It was just better.
Huh. For some, I don't know why. I feel like meat from Africa would probably be better, just less processed. But I know nothing about culture, so who's to say? Let's see. Okay, this one I think we all should land on together.
I did eat at Nate's Hot Dogs, and I didn't get a hot dog. I got a burger, and it was like grass fed, and that was very good as well. That's probably a 5 as well.
Nate's Hot Dogs. Where's that? Is that around here?
Wisconsin, I think.
Oh, and it's a grass fed.
Yeah, you can get like dog. Normal. No, it was a burger.
Burger, sorry, grass fed.
Yeah, a burger at Nate's Hot Dogs.
That would make sense that they would have really good beef because there's a lot of cows in Wisconsin. That tracks. Which leads us to our next one, Culver's, which was born in Wisconsin.
2.5.
Whoa.
3.
I thought you guys were higher on that. I'm going to give that a 4, if not a 5. I'll give him a 4. I got tired of him during COVID because I ate him way too much.
I know I should like Culver's because everyone talks about Culver's. I like Culver's. 3. Right in the middle.
Why not?
Maybe my problem is I've only had one thing there forever, which is the Butterburger kids meal.
That might be your problem.
I don't go to Culver's that often.
I will say they have...
Sorry.
No, go ahead.
No, you're the host.
No, you continue. You're the guest. I'm a good host, which means I hand it to you.
I'm like how I was lame. I was going to say I've had their ice cream a lot. That was the end.
Their custard, I think, is the thing they have going for them the most. That and the cheese curds. But they, I do really like... No, sorry. It's really random that they have seafood. Like they have cod and a shrimp thing. And I've had the shrimp one. I don't know if I've had the cod. It's just really random.
McDonald's Filet-O-Fish is pretty fire.
I think I've had that once. It's just weird to have fish on bread to me, especially breaded fish on bread. It's just odd. Feels like a lot of bread and not a lot of fish. Nathan, do you like fish? Do you like breaded fish?
Sorry, I was giving a
Fish
pause.
is pretty
Nathan
good.
like
Do you like breaded fish on bread?
I don't think I would.
What about?
Why are we doing this? Why are we talking so close to the mic?
We're just getting into the asthma. Bojangles! I've never had Bojangles.
Whoever listens to this, I'm sorry.
It's going to be a rough listening experience. I don't think anybody's going to make it this far.
Bojangles, absolutely a 5.
Have you had Bojangles?
Yeah.
That's chicken fingers again, right?
It's fried chicken.
Fried chicken.
It is. That when I said that Popeyes was the best fried chicken around here, because I was thinking about Bojangles, which is the best fried chicken, fast food fried chicken in the world.
Wow.
Outside of Deco's.
That's high praise. Have you had Bojangles, Nathan? Me neither. All right, moving on. That one was a 5. We're going to hit a couple more. We talked about Raising Cane's already. Steak and Shake. This is the ultimate like nostalgia thing for me. I agree. We went there a lot late at night, you know?
Uh-huh.
So I feel like there should be more nostalgia there.
Cursed college memories. Yeah, I hated. This was like the first like freshman year. This was like the place they took the freshmen, and I was just like, this is the initiation. Awful. Yeah, and I was like, this is awful.
That's where the hazing happened.
Everyone's in a bad mood and like crammed into like a corner of it, and you're just like, why are we here?
Well, it's gross to me too. It's like the opposite of cozy. It's like everything is white and cold and hard.
Yeah, so I really like the 1950s aesthetic, kind of, but yeah, it isn't done in like a super.
No, it's dirty now.
Yeah,
I like the 1950s.
The kids meals that come in those. I don't know if they still do it, but the kids meals used to come in these fold-out cars.
Bro, why are you getting all the kids meals? I'm a little concerned.
Well, those are like my last experiences at these restaurants. I haven't been to.
You gotta keep the child in you alive, or you just end up like me.
Because the Culver's kids meal is the exact same size as the adult meal, except it adds a custard. And it's the only kids meal anywhere that costs more than the adult meal.
It's not the same size.
It's the same burger.
Is it? Is it?
Yeah, I'm not. You can't see this, people listening, but I'm nodding. It costs more than the adult meal because it's more food.
Huh?
And it comes with a custard.
Okay. I hear you. and I think it's very good.
See, Carter, you're shackled by patriarchal standards to be a man, where Josh, as an actual man, is not.
I'll eat a kid. I'll eat a happy.
You can be a man and a child at the same time. The boundary between that is much more blurry.
How blurry?
Pretty blurry. Qdoba.
1.
Yeah, Qdoba 1.
I hate Qdoba.
I've never had a desire to go to Qdoba.
I went once.
I've gone twice.
It was once with like I don't know if you were there. Sam Spear was there.
I think I was there. Yeah.
That's my first and last experience.
Yeah. No, I'm not a fan.
Not because of Sam. I love Sam.
-2 for Sam. That's a lie. Sam's the coolest guy alive.
He kind of is. Like,
And he's engaged now.
yeah.
No.
Shout out.
Everyone's getting everyone is getting engaged. I'm not gonna be able to come back anymore. Like, you're all gonna be married. I'm just like, good luck.
Okay. We're going to do 2 more. McAllister's.
Hey,
We talked
Qdoba
about it.
4. I'm sorry.
a 4?
It's controversial. I've been there
Really?
once. I don't even remember it, but I'm a sucker for the slide along the bar in Mexican restaurants. I've been thinking about Qdoba a lot lately.
Really? Maybe this is a sign. You should go back.
Yeah.
Okay, let's number McAllister's here.
Maybe a 3. I can't really judge Qdoba. It's been so long. I don't even remember. McAllister's?
It has been a minute. Yes, McAllister's. Give it a number. I am gonna say that the quality is pretty high. So for that reason, I will give it a 3. I don't enjoy the style of food though. Not really. I kind of do. But again, it's a sandwich, so
I'm torn. I kind of want to give it a 4 too, because like I really enjoy it when I eat it, which is used to be every week, because my family would go there every week after church, and I love the food, but it's not the type of food that I've ever craved. Like you were saying, I've never thought like, oh, I really want a deli sandwich right now.
yeah.
What about you?
3.
Yeah, it's safe. And then the final jewel on this crown of fast food,
Burger King.
White Castle.
I just introduced Rachel to White Castle.
Oh
for the
no,
first
why would
time.
you do this?
I'm trying to remember how she
To your wife, nonetheless. You sleep in the same bed as this person. Why would you do
never
this?
had it. She needed to.
She doesn't
she
know.
needed to
No,
know.
she doesn't need to know. She does not need to know.
I forget how she described it, but it was really gross. Yeah,
It's icky to
one.
eat. It's icky to eat, and it's icky to get rid of. I'm gonna give it a 0. Very low for me.
Oh yeah, Rachel described it as it tasted like a burger that had already been chewed.
Oh gosh. I feel bad because I've only had it like twice, and the one time we were in, I think it was Louisville for the Cross Conference, which is this really massive college conference. And of course, by the time the session gets out the first night, we want food, but there's nothing open except for White Castle. So we went to White Castle against our better judgment, and we got a bag of sliders. We ate a bunch of them, and then we ended up giving the rest of our bag of sliders to some homeless guy because he was a homeless guy, and I feel really bad because he probably had a really gnarly experience with that later because I had a gnarly experience the next day. Yeah, it was really rough. 0. You've had White Castle, right, Nathan? You've not had. Well done. You've dodged a bullet. And just as a what you call it?
What do you call it, Carter?
Are you having a stroke?
I think I am.
You okay?
What's it called? An honorable mention, because we didn't hit it, but you said it on the last one. I do want to hit Burger King because I think Burger King is actually pretty undersold. I'm going to give them a 2.5.
Yeah, I'd give him a 2-ish.
I think most people hate
Burger King falls in the category with me of KFC, where I've never met someone that's passionate for it, or like I've never had someone recommend we should go to Burger King in my life. I don't know who the people eating it are.
I do eat it. Because actually, I think as far as fast food burgers go, like true fast food, it's one of the best fast food burgers you can get.
Yeah, probably like a 2.5. I haven't eaten it in a long time.
Sorry, that's probably loud.
Yeah, so that was our honorable mention, Burger King. We didn't keep track of those, so you guys can't go back and find out what their best highest rated one was. But it was fun. It was a good time. Okay. Do you guys have anything else you have a burning desire to say to the audience?
For all three of you out there, thanks for tuning in.
Pretty much.
Thanks for supporting Carter and his audio dreams.
What's that?
I forgot we were being recorded. Could have been doing this the whole time.
See, I told you you'd forget. Okay. Well, thank you guys for joining us. Be back with you another bottle later.
Hey. Oh, sorry. Are we closing?
Go ahead.
Well, I just feel like I had to do a confession because the whole comment about Nathan killing the snake and me being savior of snakes. I killed a snake once.
Oh, no.
I had to let that out there.
Tune in next time to find out how Josh killed a snake.
That was the Copperhead R.I.P. All right. Hey, rootin' tootin', scootin' dootin', root beer. Until next time,
steal
folks.
Steal my outro from me, why don't you?
Singing along with that, whatever you play.
That was a beautiful train wreck of a conversation.